We're back. We are back for another show, NAL Live. Today, I've got another coach in the league. Last week, we had Ben Bennett, head coach of the Orlando Predators. This week, we've got Coach Rez from the Carolina Cobras. How's it going, Coach?
That's going good, man. Appreciate it. How's everything with you?
Man, I'm living the dream, man. The dream or nightmare, depending on the time of day. Can't complain, man. Can't complain. It's great. We get to come on here to all the NAL fans, get to learn more about yourself and the other people around the league. So it's been great, man. I like your tree. Before we get started, did you decorate that yourself?
I did not. My kids and my wife did that one day when I was gone.
Come on, man.
I got the tree set up. I put the tree together.
It's a fake tree.
Yeah, we did. We don't live too far from Boone, North Carolina, which is like home of the Christmas trees. So we would always go for like 4 or 5 years. We'd go up there and get a fresh tree and bring it back home. And but when the cats and dogs start messing with everything, it's just it's all over the place.
I always was like so against like fake trees, always. And then all of a sudden we ended up getting one. It had like lights already on it. And it was like perfect. I put the thing up in like 5 minutes. It's clean. So it's kind of cool. But anyway, happy holidays. I like the tree. Yours looks better than mine, I will say.
Yeah, the kids did a good job.
So the thing I like to do, especially on these first times we have a guest on, is kind of just like get to know you. I mean, because I think you have a really cool background. You have a great journey from coast to coast to military and everything else. So kind of just let's start off with that. Like kind of just start off with where you're from and kind of that journey to where you're at now.
All right. Yeah. So I'm originally from California, northern part of California, outside of Sacramento, in a place called Yuba City, Marysville area. Small towns. So, grew up there, graduated high school, and went right into the Marine Corps. Went the military route versus the college route, and went into the 2 tours in Iraq and got out in 2005. I was overseas in 2003 and 2004. Battle of Fallujah in 2004. After that, I was done. I got out. So I was stationed at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, is where my duty station was. And my wife is from North Carolina, Mount Airy, North Carolina. So I met her, and we met in 2002 and got married in 2004. And I figured when I got out that I had been away from home for so long that one thing I learned is you don't take the Southern girl from the South and from her family. So I figured, might as well see what we got out here. And when I got out in 2005, I was thinking about going back to school. I did some online stuff and whatnot, but I wanted to try the college route, and UNC Pembroke was starting their football program in 2006. And for one reason or another, we decided not to do that. And this is when I found the Raleigh Rebels there in Raleigh, North Carolina.
The good old Dorton Arena.
Yep. So
real quick though, when you were in the military, when you were in the Marines, did you play because I know sometimes they have competitive teams that play as well. Did you do anything while you were in there, or was most of your time just overseas?
Oh, absolutely. I played high school, obviously, played in high school, played in the Marine Corps. I played every year I was in the Marines except for the two times I was in Iraq. Unfortunately, there was no football playing, overseas in the desert.
Yeah.
I take that back. We did have some touch games in the bases with the Army and Marines, and so that was pretty cool. But on the bases, we had a team. We had a team with our unit. We played other units like tanks and air wing and stuff like that, and pretty competitive. You'd be surprised on how many athletes are in the military. Like it's a very competitive atmosphere, and it was a lot of fun too. So you meet a lot of different people, meet a lot of different athletes. I had a running back that actually went to Nebraska and played running back. One of the fastest dudes I've ever met. White dude, just country as can be, but he was a legit running back.
Good.
And it was pretty fun. So you see all this different, very diverse. You even had a lot of we had a couple Asian kids. You don't really see a lot of Asian guys playing football, and there were some guys that were pretty dang good, and it was pretty fun to see. So overall, your officers and platoon sergeants and stuff like that would get mad when you leave work to go to practice, and because you're almost treated like that. That was our college football, basically. If everyone else has got to work while you go off and go to practice and go to play the games and whatnot. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I had a kid my first year in indoor, kind of similar. He was in the Marines, didn't go to college, great athlete. I think he was still in the Marines at the time, or maybe reserves at that point. But he came and played, and he was good. He played in Canton the first year in 05 for a little bit. But I always think that's great. Number one is, just anyone who, volunteers for service, I have a ton of respect for. I mean, I can't say I didn't do it. I'm too much of a wuss to do all that. But, I have a lot of respect. So thank you for that service.
Appreciate it.
I think that, it's needed and I appreciate it. So you're in that area in close to Winston-Salem, just talking about service. So my wife's grandfather was Lawrence Joel. Well, he's passed away, but Lawrence Joel Coliseum.
Oh yeah,
it was named after him. He was in Vietnam and I think the Korean War. But yeah, no, that's great. So you get back, and did you have like football on your mind as like, hey, I want to get into football, or were you kind of like, okay,
I wanted to go play college football.
Okay.
My very last high school football game was in California, it's different. They do state championships and different playoffs and all that. So we were in a section championship. You got to win so many games to get invited to the state tournament, whatever. So my last game, we got done. We lost, unfortunately, and one of the JUCO coaches there asked if I wanted to come play college football. Come try. Come to play JUCO or whatnot. And I wasn't very big. I wasn't going to no USC or anything like that. So I told him, unfortunately, where were you a year ago? I already enlisted into the Marine Corps, and that's what I'm doing. So, but I wanted to take a try at it. But being married and being a quarterback in college probably wasn't going to be the best option, for me at the time. I'm sure my wife, she's been very supportive of everything that I've done, but that's one thing that she probably would have pulled back on a little bit. So
how long have you been married? I mean, you've been married a while, haven't you?
Yeah. So we this coming April will be 17 years.
Damn.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah, it's a lot of just like every marriage, you're learning. We got married young, so
I was 18 when I got married.
I mean, there you go. So
I was we've been married. I'm 42. So
yeah, but it's been a blessing for me. She's solid. She's our rock of the family, and I wouldn't be able to do everything I do if it wasn't for her. So I'm very thankful to have that support.
It's so important, and oftentimes the ladies don't get the credit, but right. I mean, they do. They take care of us. They take care of the house, the family, all that stuff. So. I think that's great. We got somebody here who wants to give some props just for dealing with you. So
yeah, there you go. Oh yeah.
So how did the Raleigh Rebels come about? Did you just see an open tryout? I know. I think it was like Stephen G. Fulmer was the head.
Oh yeah, Coach Fulmer. Yeah.
So how did you find that opportunity?
Honestly, I was just looking online and saw that there was some tryouts coming up, and I went to the first tryout, and I had no clue what arena football was. I never really followed it. Shame on me, not really knowing what arena football was at the time, but I was in the Marines, I was in the military, so I wasn't really paying attention to a lot of outside sports stuff, and it's a whole totally different, setting, out than the real world. So I went to a tryout, and did have no clue what to expect. So in high school, I played wing T. I was a wing T quarterback in high school. So obviously, that box is unchecked because I wasn't really in a quarterback throwing the ball all over the place.
Right.
I probably threw the ball maybe 6 or 7 times, 8 times maybe a game, but we would throw for 200, 300 yards because your wing T, people are running wide open down the field. So I could throw into the ocean and complete the pass. So I had no clue what I was getting into. And I gave it my all, gave it my best. You could tell that, that little scrawny kid was had a lot of heart and was a competitor because, I didn't give up and kept trying. So long story short, I ended up not being asked to stay. So went about my way, and but there was another tryout coming up, and so I knew what I was getting into that time, and I gave it a second chance and ended up being asked to come back, and got asked to come out to a practice from Coach Fulmar. He called me one day, and had a very reserved phone call because of my background wasn't really what we're looking for an arena football player. So I think I played in 1 or 2 games maybe. I didn't really play very much. But that moment, even then, and then going on to after the Rebels to the Speed, I made it a point going forward that just because wherever you played, you didn't play Division I, Division II, whatever, you didn't come from Carolina or big name schools, if you could play and help, you'd have an opportunity. Because I didn't really feel I got that opportunity. There were some situations where I thought that I could have played more. But I took that moving on as a coach to make sure that I try, and even today, I try to help as many people as I can because I know where I was when I was trying. And, all it takes is that one person to give you a chance.
And it's tough too. I mean, even now, I'm sure as a coach, I mean, obviously if somebody comes across your desk that, Wake Forest or, wherever you do, that D1 is appealing, but at the end of the day, it's all about what you can do.
Right.
And you're a perfect example. There's stories within every team of, guys who, maybe didn't even go to college or played at a small school. I mean, it happens all the time. I mean, it's, and that's what those tryouts are really for, is to get guys an opportunity. When you went to your tryouts, were you invited or did you just go out and pay?
I just went and paid. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so
I didn't have to pay the second time.
Right.
So that was cool.
But no, but that's what it takes sometimes to get on the radar.
Mm-hmm.
And, guys have to do that. So, so you went from Raleigh down to the Carolina Speed?
Yep. So I felt that kind of having a taste of how everything was, the Carolina Speed, it was their first, that brand new team, knew everything. So I was like, that's my chance. We'll go there. No one has a spot yet, and no one really knows who everyone is. Now, granted, with the Rebels, Coach Fulmar, that was his first year as the coach there,
right?
Because Gibson was before, and that same year was his first year down in Columbus.
Yeah.
So it's cool to hear all the stories when you were talking with him, a couple weeks ago. But so I went to the Speed. Michael Mink was the head coach. I'll never forget at the tryout, like everyone towards the end, and everyone's in the room waiting to find out, what's going on. And everyone was told to get down on their face in the room in the Cobras arena. And I was like, oh, hell, what's going on with this? So they want to do push-ups. So everyone had to do push-ups for as long as they could do push-ups. And that was, I guess, the key of however many push-ups you did in a certain amount of time would prove how much you could bench and reps. And it was at the time there was a formula, and everyone's going along with it because they're telling you to do that. So I was like, whatever, I could do some push-ups. So, but I actually got asked to if I was interested to actually, come to camp. And I was like, heck yeah, it was pretty good. So there was quite a few of us. And at the time, I'm still living in Raleigh. So once I got asked to do that, once I said, yeah, let's do it, then I was thinking, how am I going to be doing this every day, driving from Raleigh to Concord? And I had a real job. So that's going to be tough. So, but that's how it is at this level, man. You got to do what you got to do and live in the car and make the trip. And So I think I did that half a season, and I got burnt out. Driving 2.5 hours to practice, and luckily there was like 3 or 4 of us going there, so we would carpool and take turns driving. And but I just got burnt out, man. It was tough. And again, same situation in Raleigh. Training camp one time, we were outside. It was cold. It was January, February, I think it was. I can't remember, but it was cold outside. We had 7 quarterbacks throwing. So you'd throw your 2 or 3 passes, and you stand outside in the cold, waiting your turn to come back up, and you get some reps. And it was brutal, to say the least. But yeah.
We got Antonio here. He just needs an opportunity. And so the great message I hear is get out to one of these workouts. I know you're going to have – I know all the teams throughout the league are. If you're not getting calls from the coaches, you're not on the radar right now. Doesn't mean you're not a good player. Doesn't mean you can't play at this level or higher. But you got to do what you have to do to get in front of them. So make sure you get out here, check out the tryouts, and show your skills. I love finding like talent at tryouts because it's like you're finding somebody that wasn't on the radar, and there's so much talent out there. I mean, we were talking about it earlier. I mean, the talent is out there. So. Yeah. At what point did you start thinking about, coaching, and were you, kind of bit by arena football at that point, or still kind of getting into?
Not so much bitten. I came to a realization I wasn't really what the prototypical next level guy. I was barely 6 foot. I still claim I'm 6 foot tall, but
6 foot.
I wear boots now for work, so I think about the 6 foot mark. So, but I was like 185 or so at the time. So, I mean, it's barely 6 foot, 185. I didn't, most of your 6 foot guys, 5'11", 185 guys now are freaking cut. So they're like legit. And that wasn't what I looked like. So
that Tom Brady at the, the combine or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't even run the 40. I just passed because that is not even, they would joke and say that there's not a sundial, good enough to keep up with my time. So, but yeah, so it was pretty much after the speed, 2008. I really didn't do a whole lot with arena football. I was learning a lot more stuff. Got my first actual coaching position. I was coaching high school, by the way, starting in 2006 and on. So now I've been coaching high school ever since. But 2009, I got my first actual, going into 2009, got my first actual coaching gig at a prep school for a post-grad, post-grad, but it was paying good, and I took the chance, and that's when I pretty much said I was done playing. 2008, going into 2009, I actually was working out. I went to a couple workouts with the Florence Phantoms and was actually interested in most likely to be going to their camp in 2009. That was at Omar Jacobs was leaving. He wasn't coming back for 2009 season. So there was an opportunity there because Omar, he was the quarterback and no one else was, taking that spot. And he was pretty good too. So from that point, I met a gentleman named Clayton Banner, who's well known in the game. He's been in every league imaginable you can think of, CFL, AFL. So I actually got hooked up with him and doing workouts and traveling the country and doing workouts. Helped him some with the Chicago Rush and then the Tulsa Talons for a couple seasons doing that, and that was pretty fun. That's really where I started to meet a lot of people, building my network, and it was just a great experience. Clayton's no longer with us, so prayers to his family about that. That's still tough. We were really close. Clayton was like a brother of mine, and it was a lot of people were heard about that because it was an unexpected situation, and he wasn't doing too well. So
he helped a lot of people, with their careers. He helped a lot of players. I mean, he helped guys like you, and I think I met Clayton back in 2004, kind of when I got started in it, and
yeah.
It was a great guy, great help. So it was real sad.
Absolutely. So, he being around him and some of the people that I met kind of helped me get my first head coach job. there in the again, circle back around, with something that you got going on in the UIFL, which was pretty cool. So that's kind of where that went. There was a general manager there named by the name of Steve Fickert. He had been around some AF2 stuff, and again, as an opportunity, had a good interview with him. It was one of those situations where I'm a young guy, and he was almost like on the end of going out on an older guy, and then a young guy coming in type kind of deal. And I really don't think he knew what he was getting into when he hired me, because sometimes, and you've seen it all through the years of every team, that sometimes that guy with the experience is going to hire someone with not a whole lot of experience to think that they're going to have the say on everything, because the guy with not a lot of experience is just going to be a yes man and just do whatever they need to do. So he quickly found out that Coach Rez is not a yes man. So, which has hurt me, through the years, I will say. But I speak my mind. I tell it like it is. I don't sugarcoat things. We talked about a little bit before, there's a lot of people that don't like me very much. There's people that would die for me and run through a wall for me. But it's you either like me or you don't. There's no in between. But the good thing about that is you're always going to know what you're getting. And I think that's important, to be transparent of, don't blow smoke up people. Tell them what they want to hear, like a player at a tryout. Why lie to that kid and tell them, oh, man, you're pretty good, but no, just tell them, you might be having to look for a career. Like, just, I don't want to crush someone's dreams, but at the same time, you got to be realistic. Someone's got to tell them.
Yep, exactly.
So
we got William here, William Parrish.
So Todd Parrish, he was a master sergeant in our company there at Lejeune, and he would actually help coach, with the Marine stuff and football, and it was pretty cool. So, but the cool thing about that, they follow you, and you just that's a light brotherhood that lasts forever. And same thing with football.
Yeah,
that's why I enjoy it so much.
Yeah, Chris Gray. We got Jamie Lee.
See, Coach Lee down there out in the eastern part of the state, big time baseball coach. He still plays baseball too, by the way. He's an older gentleman too, and he'll run circles around some people.
So you went up to Huntington. That was your first head coaching
gig? Yep, first coaching job in arena.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool.
And you get to be the head coach.
Get to be the head coach. I think, at that time, I was really big with Clayton and Coach Allner with Tulsa, traveling, doing workouts, and that helped a lot, get that job, have that on your resume, and have an AFL coach be able to speak on you and give you a good reference, especially when a current AFL coach was coaching at the time. It was a big deal. That helped out a lot, and I'm very thankful for everything that Clayton has done for me. And even to this day, he was a big part of me coming to Carolina. Him and Coach Back, without Coach Back and Clayton, I wouldn't even be with the Cobras.
How'd you end up meeting Coach Back?
So I've known Coach Back through the years from coaching. We talked a few times through the phone. Really started talking in the 2015 season when he was the head coach, or 2014 season, 15, when he was with Nashville, with the Nashville Venom. And we talk about some players and whatnot. But I followed Coach Back through the years. I mean, he's a great coach. He's won a lot of championships, been very successful everywhere he's been. So
he beat me,
I always thought it'd be cool to one day, coach with a guy like that that's well known and has got a lot of experience. So when we met and actually had an opportunity, we tried to make some stuff work in 2018, but we just couldn't get it worked out all around. So that's when I went to the Havoc as the OC. So when we had the opportunity in 2019 and it come back around, it was a no-brainer for me. Plus, it was home in Greensboro, where we live now. Well, we live in Mount Airy now, but at the time we lived in Garner and then moved, and so it was just a no-brainer for me to be a part of the Cobras, and knowing Rob Storm and them, to be a part of great owners. That's one of the things that was important to me as well.
Number one factor.
Yes. So I've been to the bottom of the barrel, to the best, to great organizations, not very good owners, good front office, bad team. You know, you name it. I'll never forget when we were in Harrisburg. We were at the Ponderosa Resort was our housing, and it wasn't a resort. It was outside of an airport. So, you know, there's a lot of things that this arena game and minor league sports in general is just, you know, it's a life for sure.
Were you the head coach in Harrisburg?
So I ended up when Bernie had that was at about the time when he got sick, and he couldn't really do it anymore. So John Morris, you know, I basically took over for Bernie with the Stampede and the SIFL at the time. So that was
in the Farm Show Arena.
Yes. Yeah.
Beautiful. There's a soccer. Our indoor soccer team would go up there to play the Harrisburg Heat. And I grew up in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, not too far. I remember the arena well, and I'm starting to feel old though, because it's like everybody we're mentioning, it's like I've known for almost 20 years now.
Right.
You know? It's like
the cool thing is all your main people in the game have all connected in some capacity all around.
Yep.
And it's pretty cool. And then when they say you don't want to burn bridges, like you don't want to burn bridges because it'll come back around in some capacity.
Too small of a community. And that's really what it is, you know. So
a lot of these guys popping in, a lot of coaches I coached with.
Yeah. I was hoping you could see that on your screen. You got Dale in there.
Yeah, Dale. I played for him and coached with him. And matter of fact, you know, we'll talk about it a little bit later, but I'm going to an event with him, an all-star game versus a Mexico team in Cancun coming up, and that'll be a pretty cool experience.
I should probably go along to just
we were just there in October and checked some stuff out. So it was my first time in Mexico, and it was a blast. So I'm looking forward to doing that again.
Yeah, I think that should be a league requirement that you give me a call next time.
Well, it's very inexpensive, so you know we could probably make that work.
Yeah. That's cool. So you were up in Harrisburg for a little bit. You know, so you've been in a couple of leagues. I mean, really, there's the leagues have kind of, you know, come and gone over the years. And what I like kind of about, you know, the NAL is, you know, the NAL isn't trying to have 30 teams this year. I mean, that was my, you know, my downfall, I'd say. You know, my first year in the AIFL, 2005, we had 6 teams. 2 of them were travel. Then the next year when you came into Raleigh, we jumped up to 16 teams.
Right.
Well, what most people don't know is I started probably 8 of the 10 new teams.
Yeah.
And now
you want to start the teams, but it's like who's running these teams?
Exactly. And so it definitely made it tough. And then it put me in a bad spot where I'd maybe sell it to somebody who normally wouldn't be able to get a team. And so I definitely really like the way the NAL is being patient. Mm-hmm. You got some really good ownership groups in the league, and you know the league's not afraid to make some tough decisions with removing teams if they're not keeping the standards. Which you got to respect that. I mean, it's all about elevating, you know, the brand and building, and it's a process. It's not going to be overnight, and I'm sure the league could expand to 20 teams next year if they wanted to do it recklessly. But to do it smart, it's going to take 2-3 years. Yeah. And that's what I like about what Commissioner Siegfried is doing and the rest of the ownership group that I've had a chance to talk with. Is it's exciting. And, you know, there's 7 teams, but there's a lot of big stuff in the works for the league. So, you know, kind of you told us a little bit about how you got connected with Coach Back, you know, with Carolina. How'd that first season go for you guys?
You know, I think it went well overall. We had a lot of injuries up and down. It was like a carousel with the offensive line, so that was tough. I was coaching the defense, and we had some times ups and downs as well. But I think we were pretty stout on defense. I mean, we led the league in most categories with everything across the board. Previous from the first year when 2018 Coach Schmidt did a great job with the defense. It was one of those things where it just continued on and just kept it rolling. And the Cobras are known to always have a great defense now, and we hope to keep that going. But it was awesome to coach Coach Back. Coach Back is very particular on how things are done. I've had I butted heads with a lot of people, and Coach Back is one of two people that we clicked. Like, it was hand in hand, and we made things happen. Once he understood me and I understood him, we trusted each other and we knew what each other was thinking. And when you get in that moment when you're coaching with someone like that, it makes it even that much more interesting and more exciting, as a whole. Coach Fuller is another guy. Never had a chance to work with him, but he's another guy that we clicked on everything, and we're friends. And so those guys right there, man, are exciting. And it just so happened they were both in the NAL. Coach Fuller is still in the NAL. Coach Fuller's been coaching for a long time, got a great background. But just to have that opportunity with Coach Back, man, it was just, it helped me in a lot of different ways than I thought, would have came up. You always think that a lot, but when it comes into it, someone's going to show you something a little bit different, and it's always for the better. So it's and we're friends, to this day. So it's something we'll be brothers for a long time. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and when somebody like that who, wins multiple championships, and, you could tell how much of a competitor he is. I haven't really got a chance to deal with him a lot other than the UIFL in 2012. Right. He came down and he beat our ass in the championship. And it's like my memory of Coach Billy Back is him just calling me, ripping me because their bus broke down coming to the championship game. And we paid for the bus because, that's how, the home team paid for the bus back then.
Right.
And, their GM gave me 3 quotes or something like that. Of course, I'm going to pick the cheapest one, right? Why would I pay more?
Yeah.
Well, in Macon, Georgia, their bus breaks down, and he just calls me screaming. That was great. And so that gave them, all that, that fuel. And it was really 2 good teams, and we just laid an egg. We had a good team that they got a little too cocky, and they came down pissed off because they were sitting in Georgia for a while. But you could just see the competitor in them. And
right.
I know that, that's the kind of guy that you want to be around to get better. And I'm sure you picked up a lot of stuff just working with him.
Oh, absolutely. I'll take some stuff from him, years down the road, as long as I'm coaching the game. And that's one thing I've always tried to do, is try to take a little bit of something from somebody. You always learn something, and you try to mold it into your own thing. I've been around a lot of great coaches, got a lot of great mentors, people that I call, ask questions to. You don't ever want to be afraid to ask a question or ask for help with something. Because once you're not a student of the game anymore, then it's time to move on to something else. And that's one thing that I feel that I try to pay attention to, and I evaluate myself even to see where I'm at with things, and because we always can improve in some capacity.
How have you done any championships throughout your career?
Yeah, so I've been actually in 3 championships, and one in 2018 with the Havoc, where I was the OC and general manager. I actually won GM of the year too, so that's pretty cool.
Nice.
It was in the AAL, but still, to me, you win a championship and you win an award is pretty cool.
Pop Warner, man.
Absolutely.
I don't care.
100%. And then in 2014, I was the head coach for the Cape Fear Heroes in the AAF, and great season. Had some adversity, lost a good player, young man named Corey Groover, who played with the Florence Phantoms for a long time and played in Harrisburg. And we talked him into, coming from back and forth from South Carolina to play with us in Fayetteville. He unfortunately passed away that season, which was, pretty tough for a lot of people. He had a lot of friends, a lot of teammates, out there. He went to Clemson. So we made it all the way to the championship game and lost in the last few seconds to Baltimore. And after the game, people were pissed, obviously. And, we should have never lost that game. We were we were up like 44 to 16 or 19 or something like that. And we ended up losing 45-44. And it was one of those things, and people left the field. And so Baltimore setting up on our home field, setting the stage up. And I stood there and made myself watch them cheering and, hoopla this and, great for them, so, but I told myself, if I'm ever in that, I'm never going to be in that situation again. If I'm in this moment, we're going to win. And that happened in 2018. We were down, Greg, them and West Virginia, I think they've only lost 3 games, in their franchise history. Again, it don't matter what league you're in, you only lose 3 games in, so many years. That's tough to do. It's hard to go undefeated, and it's hard to shut people out in the arena game, which we did that a couple of times in 2019. It was pretty cool. So we were losing that game in 2018, and, this is a cool story. A lot of people don't know this. So I'm walking off the field there in the Richmond Coliseum to the locker room at halftime, trying to rack my brain to figure out what can we do offensively, because we're open. These guys are dropping balls, and it's a debacle. So we're trying to figure out. I'm walking on my way to the locker room to figure out, what am I going to say to these guys, to the offense, to get them motivated to, come back out in the second half and be a different football team. So as I walk into the locker room, if you've ever been in the Richmond Coliseum in the locker rooms, the doors are extra heavy. I don't know what kind of material it is, but there's some heavy doors. So I walk in, and our quarterback, Lee Chappell, is laid out on the floor, like almost knocked out. And I'm thinking, that's our starting quarterback, laid out on the floor. Come to find out, Ryan McDaniel, one of our receivers, we're walking off the field of the locker room. The referees had a bad call or something like that, which never happens, right? He was pissed off, come in, slammed the door open. When he did that, Lee's bent down in his bag, getting something out of his bag, and it hit him in his head and knocked him out. Like he was concussed. Like he couldn't get up. Doctors are talking to him. And of course it was a Richmond doctor. So he was like, "Oh, no, he's out." And I was like, "No, we need to get another doctor to talk to him." But when he stood up, I was like, "Man, he's done. Like he ain't going to be able to play." So Darren Daniel, our backup quarterback, we were like, "You're in. Like you're up, man. Let's go. We got to come back."
Welcome to the club.
But he, some of the everything that needed to happen happened. So we got the ball, we scored, we got an interception, pick 6, scored, got another interception, drove down and scored. And all of a sudden it was a 3-touchdown turnaround. We're in the lead, and we kept the lead the rest of the game. They'll say that they had some different things here and there, but the best part of that whole time is Richmond was talking crap in the fans, and then it was like dead silence. It was pretty awesome. And it was a good game to the end, and it was close, but we ended up pulling it out and winning the game. And on the other side of that, Mook Zimmerman was the head coach, who was a defensive lineman for me in 2014. So he had the roles reversed, and he was in that situation again. Unfortunately, this time he was a head coach, and it even hurt that much more. That ended up being their last game played in the Richmond Coliseum.
Yeah, that Richmond was one of our initial teams in the AIFL back in 2005. We had the Richmond Bandits. They won the championship that year. So been in that arena many times. Hopefully they're going to I thought they were going to tear it down. Then I read that they weren't, and it's like back and forth all the time. But
yeah,
hopefully they figure that out, because Richmond is a good market. I think, that arena is a little, big for big and old, but it was always a fun place to play. I love when you're on the road, though, and especially in a place that has crazy fans, loud fans, to have them talk all kinds of crap, and then you score a touchdown, and it was completely silent. That is one of the best.
Oh yeah, I mean that's interesting. That's one of the favorite things for me, being on the road, of crowd being. I always say the best sound in the arena is silence when you're on the road, because they're stunned. And speaking of Richmond, when I was the DC for the Columbus Lions, those were some of our best games, versus the Richmond Raiders at the time. And you talk about crazy fans, I try to make it a point to talk to as many people on the road as possible, fans, before game, during game, after game, because that it'll come back around in some way where you might end up being coaching there.
Exactly.
So
you're not a shit
I got fans that I'm friends with to this day that come watch games because players like TC Stevens is our kicker. He was longtime Richmond Raiders kicker, and there's fans that will drive from Richmond just to watch him, and Brandon Sutton and those guys that actually play with. There are some faithful fans and loyal, and will follow their players wherever they're at.
So are you like a shit talker to the crowd? Like how? Like what's like?
It depends. I like to feed off where they're at. So if they're talking junk to me, then I'm gonna talk junk back to them. And if they're nice, I might be nice too. But if they're gonna talk junk, I will try to be a little nice in the beginning. But I'm thankful for the military that gave me a tactful sense to myself, to where when you say something to someone and then they walk away, and did he just say that? And by that time you're already gone, so you can't really fix it.
So have you ever received like a beer or popcorn from a fan while you were on the field?
Popcorn, absolutely. It's cool that the interaction with the fans is one of the most craziest thing about the arena game, which is the best opportunity for fans. Like, you can't do that in an NFL game. You can't reach down to the players and
I don't know. I mean, Billy's saying you're a shit talker, man. So
So there's a couple coaches in our league that'll know that. I'll tell them, kick it. You kick the field goal, don't go for it. But probably not so nice words like that. But anyways, yeah. So it's all fun and games. There's some crazy fans out there that take it very serious, and you're not going to do anything to their team, and they're going to let you know it too.
What's kind of been the place you hated to play at the most, and why?
I hate going to Columbus. They're
crazy fans there, man.
Crazy fans. I mean,
they're like right over the bench or something. Like,
you got the. I made a comment on when you were talking with Gibson of the. They got these lawyers, man. These local lawyers from town that the season ticket holders, longtime season ticket holders, and they are getting hammered on the front row behind the bench of the away team. And you talk about some people talking junk. I guess to the point where you just got to block it out, because you're going to get pissed off and you're going to end up saying something that you shouldn't say. So you just got to try to keep focused. But they do a good job, man. They got some really good fans. I'm looking forward to go to Albany this year coming up. They got a lot of great fans, and would love you in Columbus. So I still got some fans there from when I coached too. So and a lot of good friends there still too. So but yeah, Albany I think is going to be an awesome atmosphere if they can keep going with their fan base, which they've always had a great fan base. So I don't see why they wouldn't again, especially with Coach Keefe and Moss being there. You almost got your same guns that are running the show. So it's why not support the same people that won you a championship? So I'm looking forward to that. I think that's going to be fun.
It's always I love it. You got to have that atmosphere. You got to have those fans. Like, I just love, I've only coached a few times, more on the admin side, but I love it when they know that I'm with the other team, or they know I'm the team owner or whatever, and they just love to just ride you the whole time. And it's great when you have a good team and you win, because then it's like, go ahead, talk trash.
Yeah, sure.
I've had a couple of teams that like that. That year you were in Huntington as the head coach. We won one game. That was the most miserable season ever.
Yeah,
and you beat us down. So thank you.
So and Jacksonville's always fun to go to. They got they do a great job. It's just across the board, from their front office, marketing, their owners, everything, the city, and it helps that you're in the AFL for so long and have a great following. And, but I think it takes more skill to keep the fans coming back versus getting new fans. I think it's easier to get a new fan than it is to keep someone wanting to keep coming back after year, game after game. Because essentially it's the same thing. It's just how can we adjust things a little bit different to keep the interest of that fan coming back. So if you do that, they're doing a great job. And I think they've nailed it for what they're doing from that aspect, from a business standpoint.
What's your favorite spot?
Favorite spot would be, I'd be biased and say in Greensboro because it's an awesome place. We got awesome fans.
Can't be your home arena.
No, that's what I was just going to say, but I'm not going to choose that. I would say favorite would be, I think Richmond was my favorite place to be.
Because you won the championship there, or
well, just all around, just the fans. It makes it interesting, and it's just a great atmosphere. They never really had like a big amount of fans, but that you wouldn't have known how many people were actually in there from the fan interaction.
Yeah.
So
Mike says Cobra Nation rocks. So I mean, we'll see. Somebody else had posted here that going to be winning the championship in 2021.
Yep, that's one of our D linemen.
Okay. So we got a big boy there, ready to kill some quarterbacks.
Oh yeah, he's a big dude too. So he's pretty hungry and excited to have an opportunity. So
what's it like, being a coach during COVID? Like everything is different, and I'm sure going forward things are going to be totally changed. Like, how have you had to go about preparing for this upcoming season with all the uncertainty?
I mean, it's tricky. You almost got to prepare like there ain't nothing going on, because even though there is, you still got to recruit players. You still got to get your calendar set for the season. You still got to get all the planning that comes with it. You can't wait to the last minute to put stuff together. From a front office standpoint, you can't market in 30 days before your first game. So you got to do what you can do now. So we're talking as coaches, and we'll start getting on some film. And the cool thing with stuff like this platform and like Zoom and those type things is you can meet wherever. And I think COVID has brought out ways for people to do things differently that could be more efficient. I'm sure some companies and businesses will do a lot more Zoom meetings because you can have more people involved than someone having to travel across the country when they really can't be in that conference room, but they can now. And they've always had video conferencing and stuff like that, but just technology just gets better year after year.
I never even used it really. Like, I mean, I was on calls and stuff, but I never personally hosted Zoom meetings until COVID happened. And it's like, man, I can be so much more efficient just like on the front office side of things, having staff meetings, having, sponsor meetings, all that stuff. It's so convenient, and I can maximize that time. And I noticed a lot of coaches in the NFL too. They're doing like, position meetings or, offensive meetings through Zoom. I mean, you can share your screen, you can,
absolutely
watch the video together,
right?
Which is pretty cool. So I think that would be good. I think a hard part might be on the recruiting side, like tryouts and working guys out. Has that been kind of one of the tougher things?
I think from people coming out to the workout, they're they're uncertain on how things are going to be, and so I have masks. We provide masks for when the guys come and check in. Most of the places when we go inside, like they're requiring you to wear a mask indoor till you get onto the field, and then you can take the mask off.
Okay.
I just talked with the facility where we've got our workout coming up in January in Columbia, and as of right now, if we had a workout there today, you'd have to wear your mask while you're working out.
Okay.
Which will be a little bit different. So I'm looking into that to figure out, how we can maximize that to make sure everyone's safe. And obviously I'll have to get some masks and have those prepared for that. But overall, like one of the things you're talking about from a coach, I'm anticipating doing our weekly film stuff in season to limit the exposure and being around doing Zoom meetings on film and what, because I can share the screen with guys and go over what we need to go over and then go on to the next group. And we're still working out the kinks on that and how we would split it up from offense, defense, and because we don't really have a position coach for every position like you do and outside to do that stuff. So with the NFL guys, but we'll just be creative and overall that's all we can do and just adapt. For me being a Marine, that's what we live by. We got to make it happen.
Problem solve and just continue to press forward. So when is that next workout? Do you have a date set for that?
Yep. So it'll be January 16th at the Plex in Columbia, South Carolina.
Information on the website to register, or what's
so they can register from our Facebook page and my Facebook page, and sharing the information out there. We have a couple event pages that'll be set up for that, and the biggest thing is there'll be a link where they pay for the workout and then they fill out a registration, and there's a process. But you want to make sure that we're getting the information on the people. Try to get as much as we can before. Columbia will probably be our bigger workout that we've had before we finish in Greensboro in February. But I think I got like 17 pre-registered right now for Columbia, which is pretty cool, and we're a month away. So
nice.
I know for sure that's going to be our biggest workout, and I'm pretty excited about that. There's some great football players in South Carolina.
All right, we got Andy Jones. How do you feel about opening against the Sharks? He's from Jacksonville. He's gone to Greensboro for some games. He currently lives in Danville, Virginia. I don't think that's too far from you guys. A couple hours.
No, it's not. It's a little about an hour, maybe less, depending on how you drive.
So, how do you feel about that? I mean, they're one of the top teams, and opening the season.
I'm excited about it. I feel, I have not watched a championship game from 2019. That's how I'm still bitter of it. I mean, we should have won. They know it. Everyone else knows it. Fans were leaving the arena. You can't tell me you didn't think we were winning when you're leaving the arena. You know what I mean? So,
because I didn't see it. What happened?
I mean, it was we were dang. Both offenses were struggling. Let's say that for the most part. Then we had the lead, and things just kind of unraveled and started falling apart towards the end, and a couple questionable situations, in the game, but I'll be mindful of how I speak on that.
You're always right.
What's that?
I said officials are always right.
So film don't lie. There's some highlights and stuff out there that you can see that are some questionable things that took place, but nonetheless, we lost. Jacksonville finished. No matter what, at the end of the day, you got to finish the game, and we didn't, and Jacksonville did. And it was tough. We got screwed. But I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to it. It's always a great game. It's Jacksonville. You could say that we're kind of rivals, I guess, because we mirror each other in a lot of different ways because of some. Rob still is, helps out with Jacksonville behind the scenes with some things, and not as much as he used to, but they took the Cobras in the beginning took a lot of stuff from the Sharks as far as how they ran stuff.
Practices and
with Jeff Bucci at the time was, with Jacksonville all those years, and then helping get the Cobras set up. And I mean, why not take a cookie cutter process? You already have it set up and, boom, place it here, because it's not difficult to do the business side of it if you don't make it difficult. And, again, and Jacksonville's done a great job, so why not, keep it moving? Yep.
And I know you had mentioned that you can't wait to get up to Albany and take those guys on. We got some Sharks fans. Hey, if you guys are out there, we've got a little bit more time with Coach Rez. Throw in some questions that you want to ask. And let's come up with some good questions and some funny ones for him. Let's get to know him a little bit. But so you got the tryout coming out.
Yep.
Anything else? Like, what else are you? Do you work in the front office as well, or are you only football operations?
No. So I do more football operations now. As far as I don't do as much in the front office as I used to. I have a full-time job now too, so I'm pretty busy. I'll do some sales and stuff here on some sponsorships in the community with some marketing and things like that. I just enjoy doing that stuff. So so not as much as I have been in the past, but I'll make things work, with what I got to do from that standpoint.
Sounds good. No, that's good. I don't know what this means here. How he fared in Beat the Coach. What is that?
So we had a thing that we were doing this season as far as guess the games, like who would win. And then for NFL games, we'd have like 3 or 4 games and then a tiebreaker game, which you would guess the score or whatnot. Let's just say that I never had an issue. I never faced being in a tiebreaker. I was always losing. I'm a better coach than I am game predictor. That's just
Was that for this NFL season or
this season? This season, yes, sir. Well, it was funny.
I can tell you this: I got sucked into playing fantasy football one year, and I sucked so bad. I was like, I do not want to play this ever again. And I think I only played that once, but it was bad. It was bad.
I had played some fantasy football the last few years and had done pretty well. And then this year, of course, I saw some Cobras fans doing a fantasy league, and I was like, hey, is there a spot for me to join? And they were like, heck yeah, coach, come on. I think I named my name King Cobra or something stupid like that. So, and I didn't make the playoffs. So I wasn't the worst, but I was about in the middle of the road. I think I missed making the playoff spot by one game. Now, I was pretty crappy during the season that I lost a couple games I shouldn't have, and made some poor choices with some people. So they won't let me live that down either.
Hey, at least you're having fun with them. Are you a gamer? You play video games at all?
Not as much as I used to. I'll play very seldom, every once in a while with my son. He's getting to the age now where he's getting really involved in sports, and he's a Madden player, and he wants to be he wants to be a YouTuber. And I saw your shirt, and I think your kids do that, some of that stuff and whatnot. So
my guy,
he's interested in doing some stuff like that.
This guy, my son, he made $100 last week on Twitch. Wow. It's not a ton of money, but it's like, I mean, when I was 16, I wasn't making $100 a week playing video games. It's like, dude.
Yeah.
So, no, I mean, there's definitely something out there. I was always saying it'd be cool to have a contest or enter the players or coaches in some tournaments with fans.
Yeah.
Or contests. Hey, you get to play the coach.
Right.
Are you a Madden guy? Is that your game if you play video games?
It's okay. I'll play Madden. I'm an NCAA guy, which
they need to bring that
back. I hope they bring it back. There's a lot of chatter that they'll bring it back at some point, but there was no better football game than NCAA. What's
your favorite NFL team?
I don't want to say it publicly, but I'm diehard. I'm a Raiders fan. I love the Raiders. They struggle at times. They can never win the big game, so to speak, or a big game that they're supposed to win or need to win. They always, don't do what they're supposed to do. So I say my second team is the Ravens. I'm a Lamar Jackson fan. Followed him through college and whatnot, and they had a great game last night. One of the better games to watch, actually.
I missed that one.
This season. So yeah, I like the Ravens. I haven't had a chance to go to a game yet. We were planning on going to a bunch of games this year, but with COVID, that kind of put a wrench in everything. We were going to fly out to Vegas for the home opener with the Raiders, and that was got screwed over because of COVID. But again, a lot of things, if you keep track of things in your daily life of COVID messed this up or COVID messed that up, it's like I'm tired of hearing of because of COVID. But
it is what it is at this point. We just gotta move on. Andrea thinks that you really like the Bengals.
The Bengals, yeah. Andrea and Josh are two big fans of the Cobras, and they went all the way to Jacksonville, the championship game, and come on, the G-men. Yeah, so they're Bengals fans. So that's where they haven't had a very good season. So
that's got to be tough. Yeah. Their quarterback gone down.
Yeah, who I was excited to see this. The Browns are doing awesome.
They're fun to watch. I mean,
they're explosive and just across the board. But again, they're a team just like you got to get over the hump of winning the game you're supposed to win. Like you open the door for yourself to possibly not be in the playoffs.
But how many times have they won 9 games? When's the last time they won 9 games?
I think they said, when did they say?
It had to be.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, it had to be 15, 20 years ago, I would think.
Yeah, for sure.
So I lived in Northeast Ohio, Canton, Ohio for 7 years. So I I always look back. I took my son there when he was little. We would go to Browns games, and then we would go to Pittsburgh Steelers games.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the atmosphere in Cleveland compared to Pittsburgh is like night and day. Like
Right.
Cleveland was boring. Pittsburgh was, was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Who's your college team that you follow?
Back in the day, I would say USC. Back in the day, growing up, being from California, I always liked UCLA as well. Never really been a huge that's my team in college, but being a coach now and being involved as much as football as I am, I enjoy following the players. The different players across the country and coaches. To see how different coaches do for teams, and you got coaches that bounce around, and how are they able to keep their success in different places, and so college is I enjoy watching college more. It's just overall just the love of the game. They're it's a different mentality.
Got another fan of yours from Harrisburg, PA, on there, Richard Bailey.
Yep. So Richard Bailey. He's actually came to quite a few of our workouts, taking pictures and tracking that with LinkedIn Magazine, Jonathan Durst and them to support us with a lot of stuff that we do. And so it's cool to, have people like that support what you're doing. And I try to help and support them as much as I can as well. I appreciate them a lot.
What's kind of like the one thing that most people don't know about you?
I don't know. Other than the military, I'm not a big putting it out there that I was in the military, I'm in the Marines, that. So I'll talk about it, when it comes up, but I'm not like putting it out there. So when people find out that I was in the military and in combat twice and those type things, it's a whole totally different mindset versus Coach Rez, and then Coach Rez, Coach Rez, after the fact. But they let me know that fact for a second that they appreciate, what I've done and whatnot. So that's cool. So when they're ribbing me and talking junk, I know deep down inside that, they appreciate me.
So roster wise, you still have some spots open.
Oh yeah.
Getting some things together. And as long as we, piss you off, you're going to be more focused. At least as far as William says. So, no, I mean, I'm excited for the season. I mean, I want to get up there for a game. I know you're going to put together a damn good team. I mean, you've always been good at recruiting guys,
it helps a lot too with the Cobras, with our ownership. I spoke on it a little bit earlier, but with Rob and Richard, man, they do a great job. And it's not just – it's a business, but they want to make sure everyone's taken care of and the players have what they need, and just across the board. They're some of the top ones that are in the country, in the game. And it's, it's a blessing to know you got support like that from your ownership group, because all of these teams, it's from the top down. And if there's any issues or weak links near the top, when you get down to the middle or to the bottom, it's going to be a disaster. So that aspect of it, I'm thankful for the opportunity, to be here and to be able to be close to home and with the family and whatnot. So it's, it's pretty cool.
No, well, I think ownership is crucial, and, just providing the little things sometimes goes a long way, especially for the players. But at the end of the day, they want to be respected. They want to feel that you genuinely care about them. And, when you have a good ownership group and then you have good coaching staff that you have, it makes it that much easier, because these players all talk.
Right.
I mean, you're not going to keep recruiting top talent year after year if you don't treat the guys right.
Right. 100%.
So, I mean,
with that too, we talked a little bit earlier about the trip to Mexico. American football events, do a lot of different all-star events where they go to Costa Rica and Mexico. So this year I actually have the opportunity to go coach with them down in their all-star game against the Mexico team down in Cancun. And that's going to be like their Super Bowl for them. And it's going to be a great crowd and whole totally different atmosphere. I think we got about almost 45 guys that are traveling there. And It's going to be a great event. Coach Glossinger and his wife, Sandy, do a great job of putting an event together. It's just another avenue to give players another platform, to showcase what they can do and get that extra game film, to have opportunities. So I'll actually get to see some players down there, in person and see what we can find out from that as well.
When's that going to be?
That'll be in March 6th and 7th time frame.
Right before training camp for.
Yep. So it'd be right before training camp and a good opportunity to coach a game and getting some of that. Our high school season is supposed to start in February here in North Carolina. So we'll see how that goes, barring any kind of other restrictions that pop up from COVID and whatnot. So we'll see. So hopefully we can get that off. Let's see.
Yeah. Got your boy McNeil in there.
Yeah, that's one of our DBs. Excited to see him on the field. He's a playmaker. So we're excited to see him.
We do have a qualified, high quality H2O coordinator. We could get Josh to take care of those guys, make sure they're totally hydrated. March 3rd through the 7th.
There you go.
Check out the website.
I mean, they've helped hundreds of players through the years. He's gonna hit me over the head, but I think this is their 5th year that they're going to be doing these events, and they do like 4 events a year. They even started women's league, or a women's team, and they travel around and you talk about some football. Those girls get after it. And this year coming up, I think 2021 is going to be their first year of having a youth all-star team traveling around. So that's
nice.
They do a lot for the sport, and it's exciting to see people do that kind of stuff and give players an opportunity to showcase what they can do.
I think there's so many opportunities now for players that maybe weren't around when you were kind of getting into it as a player. I think
I would have loved to travel to Mexico and play an all-star game.
Yeah.
I would have paid. You tell me to pay $1,000 to travel, $600 to travel, whatever. I'm going where to play. Let's go. There's an opportunity to play.
Yeah, no, I think that's a lot of fun. So we'll make sure to check you out. What is your? Are you on all the social media?
Yeah, just my name. Nothing crazy. I couldn't even tell you what my Instagram is. I think it's Coach Rez or something. But I don't really do social media as much. Facebook.
Okay.
I guess you could say that I don't really.
Facebook, old head stuff. That's what if you're an old head, you're on Facebook.
Right. I don't do Twitter or Instagram, those things, but I have them. I just don't really use them anymore.
You look like a TikTok.
I may do a TikTok video or with my son or something just for you, just to put it out there.
Do that. We need that for next week. So, but no, man, Coach, thanks for joining me, man. It's been fun, chatting with you. I love seeing what you guys are doing up there. I know you're going to put together a good quality team. Can't wait to kind of check out the action and, maybe face you one day and let's see what's up.
Yeah, man. Glad to see you back involved and doing some stuff and get to see you come down there in Orlando. And that's one of the teams we shut out. So I know they're going to be hunting us twice actually. So I know Coach Bennett's going to be, Coach Bennett's going to be, making sure to know that Coach Rez knows that who Coach Bennett is and give us a game. So I know he's doing a great job down there. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah. Mary just threw in some comments quick, just, how important it was that, you came back. So no, that's good, man. We'll get after it. If you shut these guys out again, man, that'll be bad. But hey, come down. Hopefully, spend a little time.
Like I told you, it's hard to shut a team out. Very hard in the arena game. I was yelling at Coach back because he kept scoring, and I'm like, dude, stop.
Slow down. Slow down. All right, well, check those guys out. The tryouts, all you players that have been posting about that. Tryouts are next month. Get on the website. Get the info. If you can't make it to the Carolina Cobra one, there's going to be other team tryouts as well. But check it out. I know Coach will have a couple more coming up. So see you guys back. We'll be announcing the next show probably tomorrow, and it will be Thursday night. So more details will come out on that tomorrow. Thanks again, guys.